Welcome to Unshakable with Human Design, the show dedicated to helping entrepreneurs use human design to shift from hustle to flow without sacrificing results. Come here to become an unshakable human and build an unshakable business according to your human design. I'm your host, Nicole. Hello and welcome to Unshakable with Human Design, everybody. I'm your host, Nicole, and we're here for another installment, another episode in our profile series. We are diving into each of the 12 profiles. Every single one of them gets its own dedicated episode, and profile is such an amazing piece of human design. If your profile is off, everything else is going to be off. So this is why we're giving these guys such a focused sort of platform here on the show, because if you're missing this piece, you're probably missing a whole lot. And living in alignment with your profile, this is something like I work on constantly. I'm always noticing the 5. I'm always noticing the 1, and I'm noticing how they come together. This is why we've done episodes on the lines before. We've done, the 1 line, the 2 line, the 3 line, and you might be like, well, why do we need the actual profiles then if we could just listen to the 2 episodes and put them together? Well, I want to talk about them more as like what a person would operate as and how it's different than just being a 4 line or being a 2 line. That's different. A 6-2 is different than a 2-4. So I want to give that perspective here. When we put these together and we make an actual profile, how does that influence the way that expresses as a human being or in a human being's life? Now, this is also where the lines by themselves don't really talk about, the destiny, the personal destiny or the transpersonal destiny. That's determined by where each number is. If you have a 1, 2, 3, you're going to definitely be on the personal destiny side. If you have a 4, you might be either personal destiny or juxtaposed. And then we have the 5 and the 6 that are transpersonal, if you have that in your personality side. So there's a lot of nuance to this. It's not just about the 2 lines, although you can get so much out of that. I wanted to show you what this looks like when a person's walking around with both of these things and what that is like. So we've been climbing the ladder. We've gone 1, 3, 1, 4. We started with the 1, 3, which is the start of the personal destiny process. 1, 3, then we went to the 1, 4. Then we switch the personality number. We go 2, 4, 2, 5. Now we switch the unconscious number, 3, 5, 3, 6. Now we're in the 4, 6. So we're climbing up the hexagram, so to speak, right? So this is where we are. And human design, like I've said, profile, most people are interested in their purpose. How do I live more aligned and aligned with my purpose? Because that's what alignment is. Alignment is when you are experiencing less resistance in your life and you are feeling more fulfilled. You feel like life is just sort of helping you along rather than always feeling like you're facing a headwind. So in order to do that, in order to live in alignment with your purpose, to be pulled on that path according to your design, profile is such an integral part of that. If you're not in alignment with your profile, you're probably going to face resistance. You're probably not going to be on your path. You're going to be maybe slightly off of it or maybe way off of it. So this is one of those beautiful tools. I also think it's one of the easiest to understand. I think people can get profile and its power, and each line has a shadow and there's certain expressions to it. So I think people can use profile in a little bit more of a practical and easier to understand way. So I find that it just to be a powerful tool that way. Because remember, it doesn't matter what we know, it only matters what we embody. And now today we're going to talk about the 4-6, which is going to be so much about embodiment. And we're going to talk about that. Before I get started, I want to mention just a couple of things. I want to mention that we have our contest running right now. If you love this series and you're loving the profiles and you love the show in general, take a little screenshot of you listening to it, put it up on your Instagram stories, tag me. I'm at Nicole Official. Tag me and say something that you love about the show, you love about the series, what's something that's standing out for you, and you can win a chance to be featured on this show and actually get a human design coaching session, reading, whatever it is that you want. I pull up your chart, you want to ask me questions, or if you want to just sit back, receive, and let me tell you stuff about yourself and about your chart, it's completely up to you. The time is yours. So you get that absolutely free. If you share, you win a chance to win that. We'll pick one winner and we'll do it after the profile series ends. So after we finish all 12 episodes of this series, then we will announce the winner. So you have until then to enter, and you can enter more than once. The last thing that I want to mention before we get cooking on this episode is that we have a new course available. I'm very excited about this. I wanted to create something that was impactful, gets you into action with your business specifically, gets you into action with human design and with blending it with your business. And I wanted it to be cheap, super accessible, where like literally anybody could buy it. And we created it. It's called Content by Design. It goes into content, creating content according to your human design with your type and your profile. And we have workbooks and workbooks for integration. We have lessons in there. There's so much. We do a high level. I take you through the aura types. I take you through why human design works the way it works. I take you through the chart. There's really so much in there. I think I'm kind of crazy for offering it for what I am. But it's under $50. It's so cheap. So please DM me the word content on Instagram. If you're interested in that, we will send you the link to purchase that right away. Yeah. And I hope you do, because that's a steal. So I hope that you go and you grab that, because it's a really, really awesome little course that we put together for you there. Okay. So let's talk about the 4-6. The 4-6 is the opportunist role model. There's so much growth in a 4-6 profile. I have a lot of 4-6s in my life. I feel like 5-1s and 4-6s tend to get along pretty well. I think that it's been my experience that 6s see 5s, particularly 5-1s and 5-2s, better than anybody else does. So the 4-6s, the 6-2s, 6-3s, 3-6s, those tend to be our fans and people who get us when maybe it feels like the rest of the world doesn't. And I think it's because of that 6-line perspective. They see they have a greater vision, but they have a very different perspective than the rest of us. They are higher than the rest of us. Not better, but they have a higher vantage point. So they're able to see above and see everything and see how things are laid out differently than the rest of us can. It's why they're the role model. They go through a journey in this life. Now, a 4-6 is still a personal destiny. This is the last of the personal destinies, or right angle crosses as we call them. But it's a weird one, because so we started with the 1-3, and the 1-3 is both lower trigram. We talked about that, right? In the hexagram, if it's broken up into 2 floors like a house, lines 1, 2, and 3, that first floor, 4, 5, and 6 are on the second floor. 1 and 3 are both on the first floor. So we started there with the personal destiny process. But now we are on to second floor lines, 4 and 6. So this one's interesting because the 4 is not about itself necessarily. It needs other people. It's literally how opportunity comes to them. That's really what opportunist means. Opportunist really just means opportunities come through people. It's about connecting with others. Now, I'll say the one thing that kind of makes sense, this was something that I contemplated a lot. It's like, it's part of the transpersonal floor. It's a transpersonal line, but it's a personal destiny. Interesting. I kicked that around for a long time. And one of the things that I landed on with that was I think that the 4 is still a very personal process in its interactions, in its socialness. It's not big picture. It's very much like you and me, we're here right now. I touch you, we're friends for life. I come into your world and we're connected now. And once we're connected, we stay connected. That's not how the rest of the transpersonal necessarily works. Certainly not the 5. It's a different type of influence. So the 4 is here to be influenced and have influence over the people it knows, over the people they know, and over the people that those people know. Network, right? That's where opportunist comes from. Opportunity comes through people. And they know this in their energy. It's why when they feel cut off from people, it feels like they're cut off from opportunity. It feels like something's missing. It feels like, I don't know. I don't know how this could work. I need to be personally connected with people. Now, can you do that online? Absolutely. It just needs to be a personal connection. But a lot of 4s will say that they really need that personal, in-person touch. They will say that. Sometimes I challenge that. I'm like, you might like it. I don't know if you need it. So let's get over maybe that story that we're telling ourselves. Because I do hear that from fours sometimes. I need that personal. I need that that personal touch. And it's like, you can do that online in the absence of the opportunity to meet people in person. We live in a very virtual world right now. Fours are not at all cut off from that. Same way they're not cut off from social media. It doesn't mean that you can't be huge on social media. It's just the way that you grow on social media is going to be very different than somebody like me who's a 5 in the front, who's a transpersonal profile with a 5 line as my personality line. It's going to be very different for us. Our content's going to be different. The way we talk to people is going to be different. What we show people is going to be different, right? So this is stuff that we go into in Content by Design. We really talk about breaking that down for each of the profiles. And like I said, we give you a workbook to integrate and implement all of that so that it's not just learning, you're putting it into action. But this is the last of our personal destinies, but it's going to involve other people for the first time really in that personality way where it's out in the front, okay? So the 6 line is the unconscious side of this one, just like we were in the 3-6 before, but now we're coming out of that, like the 3 is still very much about itself. It's like, oh, I got to go through all this. I have to figure all of this out. I have to live this life. I have to make these mistakes. I have to. And now we put the 4 in the personality seat, in the driver's seat, so to speak. And that 4 is like, I need other people. Where are my connections? That's the lifeblood of my life. And their success in this life kind of lives and dies on how healthy that network is. Most 4s that I meet a lot of times, and certainly 4-6s, even if they think they don't have a network, they usually do. But most of them will say, most of my work comes from referral. Yes, I have this network. These are the people that have oh, this is my best friend from elementary school. It's like, that's a 4. The 4s never lose people. I got a guy, that's a 4. Oh, I got a guy for that. I got a guy for that. They're connectors, naturally. Now, you have to nurture 2 sides of this as well as a 4. You can't just get, you can't just receive, you must give. And you need to find balance with that. And that's sometimes where we see trouble with these people. Now let's talk a little bit about the 6, and then we're going to put these 2 lines together. So the 6, we talked about it in the last episode, but anybody who didn't listen to the 3-6 episode, maybe you're only listening to the ones that pertain to you or your family. The 4-6, and when we're talking about the 6 line, the 6 line goes through a 3-stage life process. From 0 to 30, that 6 is a 3. So until they're 30 years old, 28 to 30, they are a 4-3 profile, right? So what does that mean? Well, think about the 3 line. It's life bumps into you and you bump into life. There's going to be things that bonds made and broken is the other tagline of the 3. The mantra of the 3, bonds made and broken. I break things, I move on. I see how that works. That didn't work. Next. Now we talked about the pessimism of the 3. The 3 can get a little bit down on itself. Martyr. Oh, nothing works out for me. Oh, everything fails. Oh, it's so hard. And I'm not meaning to make light of it. I don't think that it's easy being a 3. But so now think about that with the 4 in the front. The 4 is like, I want to make relationships. I want something to last. This is a foundational line. It needs stability and security, and it craves that. What might happen is that 6 line is doing its thing for the first 30 years, and it is screwing up in relationships. Friend groups are falling apart. Romantic relationships are falling apart. Family might have issues. And then what happens? Trigger the shadow of the 4. And the 4 says, people leave me. Oh, and I'm heartbroken. And now the 4 puts a wall around its heart and says, I'm not going to let anybody in. So by the time they get to that, and I'm not saying that this happens with everybody, but it does happen, and it has happened, and it can happen. So this second phase of climbing up on the roof is when they kind of look back and maybe they realize that that wasn't so bad. Maybe they realize that, maybe they completely retreat in that second phase of the 6 line. They might completely retreat and then cut off that 4. And then that cuts off all of their opportunities for success. And then a lot of times the work that people come to me with is, I've done this and I need to crack the big hard shell that I wrapped around my heart. I have to deal with the fear. I have to deal with the loss. I have to deal with the pain of the way I was treated or the way that people left me or these wounds that I carry. And a lot of times those people will say, oh, I don't have a network. And they do. They do. They just know it used to be bigger. They carry the loss. They see what's gone rather than seeing what's there. So it's almost like the 6 to me has to go through this journey of not just technically moving from one stage to the next, technically moving out of the 3-line stage, technically moving out of the on the roof stage, technically coming off the roof by timing into it. No, they actually have to do this stuff in order to really live the 6-line life that they're meant to live, in order to really be the role model. Because it isn't about knowing things. There's nothing about knowing things in the 4-6. It's not studying. It's not any of that. It is purely about being, and then going and telling people and showing people really in a 4-6. You're going to go and show people who you are. You're going to go and be a role model. You're going to either be one or you're not. And that is always going to feel like I'm not living my purpose because you're not in alignment with your profile. 6s know they've got a big destiny, which is why sometimes that 3-line process can hurt so much, because they're like, oh, I've screwed up so bad. I'm supposed to be better than this. No, you're supposed to have that experience, because only the 6 can really say, because I've experienced this, because I experienced what didn't work in such a profound way, and I experienced the reflection period on that, and I've watched and I've looked out and I've really processed this, that I can come down and embody what change is really supposed to look like. And from that spot on the hill that I've been hanging out on, I see further than the rest of you, and here's the change that we need to make. And now I need to go tell all of my friends with my 4-line stuff so that this actually spreads. And what I see with people who carry this line, I have people in my program, I have people in my life, and just what I see with these people is that the more they own that 6 line, that unconscious, the more the 4 has an easier time doing its thing. The more the 4 can really spread its message, it just does it so naturally. People are like, yeah, I'll help you with that. You tell a friend and they tell a friend and they tell a friend. You speak at an event. You go on somebody's podcast. You do these things and it starts to spread. But what spreads is based on how much you're embodying that 6-line energy, right? So these 2 profiles, the 4 and the 6, the difference here, when we was talking about that tension, the 4 is interested in like now, who's around me now? What safety do I have? What stability do we have? What can I hold on to? It's very much kind of that like, it's not the same as the 1 that craves like security. The 4 is looking for like, where are my people? Where's the like community to hold me down? And they can feel a little untethered without it. But the weird thing is the 6 is like, I kind of need to be alone and kind of do my thing, or I'm not going to see what I need to see. And then I'm not going to become the role model that I'm supposed to become. So the 4 can either be very codependent or the 4 can be really closed off in its shadow expression, depending on whether you fall on like a repressed or reactive side of this. But this is where we need to create balance. And I think that's what's so powerful about profile is that it shows us what our balance needs to be. It's not just about creating a balance. Balance for a 4-6 is really different than balance for me. We're going to do different things in our alone time. We are going to function differently. We're going to have different ways of creating content, interacting with people, getting our message out there, driving sales, creating connections. It's going to be a very different way for those people. Even though me and those people, like we tend to jive very, very well. But that doesn't mean that our process is the same. Our balance is going to be different. How we achieve that balance is different. Their destiny is different than mine. Their destiny is more about who they've become and how that 4-line can spread what they are role modeling, right? What they are embodying, that wisdom that a 6 has. That's not my destiny. It's different. And it's different than a 6-2's destiny. Very different. It's not about our stuff as much, but it's still about their stuff. It's still about your stuff if you're a 4-6. So I hope that you love this. I hope that you're loving this series. I try to keep these short concise, but impactful. It's always what we're going for here. I hope we achieved that. If we did, take a little screenshot, enter the contest by sharing that screenshot. Tell us what you loved about this episode, about the show, about the series that we're doing, whatever you like. Share it on Instagram, tag me, I'm at Nicole Official, and you can be entered for the contest to win a human design reading or coaching session here on the show. Okay, they're really awesome. I hope that you win. And then the other thing is, if you want the Content by Design course that we created that I'm super excited about, if you want to really start to test drive what this combining business with human design thing is and put your design into action, then I suggest picking that up because it's a steal. And all you have to do that is DM me the word content on Instagram. I'm at Nicole Official, and we'll send you the links and all the details there. Thanks so much. I appreciate you. And remember, in order to have an unshakable business, you must first become an unshakable human. So thanks for letting us help you become unshakable with human design, everybody. We'll see you next time. If you loved this episode and you're a fan of the show, please show us the love on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to the show, and leave us a review. And if you'd like to connect with other entrepreneurs on their human design journey, join our free Facebook community, Human Design for Entrepreneurs. Go to nicolelano.me/podcast links to join the group, book a human design reading with me, or access our free human design resources. We'll see you there.